Hello YouTube, TWK here, and welcome to tonight's Stream of Conscious video on one of my favorite open world games, Ghostwire Tokyo, brought to us by Tango Gameworks, a video game production company that has been in the news as of late, some for bad, some for good. I'll be talking about the good later on, but the main reason you may know for Tango Gameworks is because they recently got shut down by Microsoft. Oh boy, but don't worry, there's a good ending to the story, as we'll get to after I'm done reviewing this video game, let me tell you. I am very excited to talk about this, so enough rambling, onto the, well, scripted rambling. As far as our story goes, we got our protagonist, Akito Izuki, on a journey to save his sister Mari from a man in a Hanya mask that has gained supernatural powers. Oh, and Akito has gained some powers as well due to being possessed by the spirit of a hard-boiled detective, KK. With said powers, Akito and KK will have to battle evil spirits of all sorts in order to save the citizens of Shibuya. Ghostwire Tokyo was, from what I could find, the directorial debut of Kenji Kimura, and I wanted to point this out because I've seen people give credit to Shinji Mikami, and while you could feel his influence, Mikami was an executive producer for this game. On top of that, credit has to be given for how good these cutscenes are. When you think of first-person open-world games, you usually don't expect stuff like this, so thank you to Kimura-san, as well as the rest of Tango Gameworks staff. As far as gameplay goes, it is more or less a first-person shooter except with elements instead of bullets. You got wind, which is weak, but you can rapid-fire that bitch, water, which is basically a shotgun blast, and finally fire, which, while powerful, I rarely use due to its ammo count being incredibly low. You can get a refill by attacking these glowing objects that glow green, blue, or red. Traversal is standard at first until you learn that you can grapple onto Tengus as well as float in the air for a few seconds. This alone makes getting around Shibuya fun AF. Just a shame there isn't a Tengu on every rooftop, but then again I guess that would break the game. On the topic of getting around, there was one section where KK is taken away from Akito, meaning you've got nothing but a bow and some arrows to defend yourself. Thankfully, the arrows seem to kill most enemies in one hit. Downside, my accuracy is not always the best, shall we say? Well, at least this section didn't last too long. On the brightest of notes regarding this section, it does end with us gaining an ability that allows us to go radio rental on our enemies. Oh yeah, this game is an open world RPG type of affair, which means there's tons of collectibles and side quests. Our main thing to gather are spirits that we save by transferring them with a phone booth over to KK's colleague, Ed. How he saves them, no clue, but according to KK, Ed is a strange dude that has his methods, and we shouldn't question them.
Much obliged, KK. These readings are roughly what I anticipated. It seems the moon currently in the sky is indeed Luna herself. There are a few discrepancies, but they're within permissible range. No, hold on a moment. Could these results fall within expected parameters because they're what I anticipated? Could my initial assumption of this moon's authenticity have led to the inadvertent realization of that premise? If instead we assume that everything in this world is a fabrication, then...
But he hung up. What was so urgent about all this again?
Probably best not to overthink it. That's his job.
And the side quests are pretty goddamn good as well. These aren't just throwaway fetch quests, these are full-on stories. The folks at Tango Gameworks did not skimp out on quality when it comes to this section of Ghostwire. Some of these side quests will take you on a fairly lengthy adventure, or at least lengthy for side quest standards. My favorite of which has you investigate a hospital to discover a child can't sleep because every time they close their eyes, they see a demon. As it turns out, their corneas are transplants, and after some exploration, you encounter the donor as well as said evil force. It only takes about 10-15 minutes in total, but you can tell the team put their all into it. And speaking of effort, the absolute beauty that is Ghostwire Tokyo's visuals. Just, my goodness, does this game look amazing. Whether it's the big city, the apartment complexes, or even the forest, this game is a treat for the eyes. On top of that, when TG wants to get trippy, they get trippy. It doesn't happen too often, but I love it when it does. Some of these feel like those experimental type games that Natural Rad would review, but no, here we are seeing it in a big AAA video game. Tango Gameworks were on a different level here. I gotta mention the yokai. As a full-on weeaboo, this is one of my favorite parts of the game, and for those unaware, they're supernatural beings from Japanese folklore. And you're going to want to find them, as doing so will net you a Magatama, and some upgrades are locked behind collecting a few of them. Dick move? Maybe, but a smart way for a developer to get the player to explore more of the world. If I had to name a major negative, it would be the section about halfway through the game where you get trapped within a barrier and you have 15 minutes to search around an area to destroy 3 barrier stones. This part always gives me guff, as I have never been good at scavenger hunt type gimmicks, and yeah, sure, 15 minutes sounds like a lot, until it isn't. This is one area where nobody should be faulted for using a guide, not even a little bit, because fuck this part. Oh, and these mermaids can go absolutely straight to Helheim, plenty of health, and super hard to hit, so yeah, fuck them. I have heard some people complain that this wasn't a full-on horror game. While it does have its moments, I can see where they're coming from. Ghostwire does have a horror tone, but it's kind of hard to actually convey that consistently while also making the player constantly stronger. The open world aspect probably doesn't help either. I'm sure some amazing devs could make it work, but it's clear that Tango wanted a horror setup or theme, but not go full on with it. Not since Alan Wake have I seen a game do this. By the way, I still haven't played Alan Wake 2. I probably should, shouldn't I? Overall, Ghostwire Tokyo is a super fun open world game that respects your time. While there is a lot to do in it, you can probably complete it in under 30 hours. Completing open world games isn't really my thing outside of the Spider-Man games, but to those that do, you'll probably have a relatively easy time here, especially compared to some Ubisoft titles. As for us filthy casuals, we're just here for a super fun time, and that's what Tango Gameworks provided. One last thing, Ghostwire Tokyo is secretly a buddy cop game, and I will not go into any further detail. Just play the game for yourself to find out more. So, we got all the bad news regarding this game out of the way, but how about some good news? First off, I just remembered that I'm wearing, under this, yoink, a mask under this mask. Huh. Kinda weird how I could forget that. But I guess that's just what happens when you wear a mask for so often. It just feels like a second skin. Anyways, on to the good news of this game. It turns out that Tango Gameworks was purchased, bought, whatever you want to say, acquired by a new publisher. So we could see a new Ghostwire Tokyo type game continue in the future. But as for what's next for us, oh, we're going to take a look at a game that is much simpler, that shouldn't take me hours and hours and hours and hours to record footage for. Oh, we're going back to the Nintendo 64, baby! Oh, I can't wait to take a look at this one. Wait, I'm actually not good at racing games. Oh, I didn't think this through. Oh well, it's already on video now. I'm holding it in my hand, which means it's basically a binding contract by YouTube standards. I think? Maybe? Anyways, hope you all have a perfect rest of your day. Here's the perpetrator. Look at her. She's big, she's huge, and she's fluffy. This is midnight.